So this is a special video today because it's not so much get your makeup done in 20 minutes, it's actually showing you how to perfect every feature within a time frame. And if you add everything together, it's only 20 minutes. So head straight into this video because I think you're gonna really find it interesting and I think it's actually gonna solve a lot of problems for you. So stay tuned. So I've got no makeup on, my skin is clean, I've applied my skincare. Now I'm gonna be doing this video a little bit different to usual. You've probably seen my other videos where it's like a 10-minute or 20-minute tutorial where I've put the timer on and I'm probably a bit rushed. Well, today's is just a bit different because what we're gonna be doing is breaking down the 20 minutes into segments because I really want you to be able to do your makeup, like do a flawless look in 20 minutes. So rather than you get stressed out by watching me get stressed out, what I wanna do is actually give each area on the face a certain amount of time and it all adds up to just 20 minutes so that you can really focus on each segment. So we're gonna start off with the base and creating a really nice flawless base in 7 minutes. Now I have made sure that this is kind of like thoroughly thought out and timed in such a specific way so that you can actually get it done too and you don't feel like you're rushing. So we're going to be putting a timer on for each segment. So the base is going to be 7 minutes like I said, and this includes the primer by the way and kind of like bronzer and blush. So everything that is kind of comes into the base and setting it is part of this segment. So in 7 minutes we're going to get this done. I'm saying this like I don't think so, but I know we are going to get it done. Now before we get started, I just want you to know that you want to have a few things kind of like ready, and this is what we're going to kind of use for the base. We're going to be using a primer, a foundation, your concealer, a setting powder, also a bronzer and a liquid blush. So all of these things are going to be used to create the most flawless base. And the great thing about this whole kind of video and the way that I've done this, the way that I'm going to be doing this, is that you can take your pick. So for example, if you want to know like how do I create the most flawless base in 7 minutes, well then you go to that part of the video. If you want to know how do you create the perfect brows in however many minutes, then you go to that part of the video, or you could put the whole lot together and get your whole look done in 20 minutes. So I'm going to get ready. I've got a couple of things out and I'm gonna get started with my timer for 7 minutes for the base. Even though I know I'm gonna be able to do it, I don't know why it just still kind of like, I think it's anything to do with putting a timer on, it just stresses me out a little bit. But let's go. So let's start that now. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my Fenty Beauty primer. We're gonna get that on. This is just the mattifying primer, smooth that over. That's going to help to just give us a really nice base. Now next up, we're going to get this concealer on. This is the Guerlain concealer and we're just going to get this over the lids to get that out of the way first. And I've got a sponge that I'm just going to kind of like buff this in. I've got my beauty blender which is nice and damp. And this is where I think this also teaches you not to spend too long on certain areas. I'm guilty of that myself. By the way, I'm just getting my setting brush and my powder, which is the one size powder, and just kind of like dusting this in. Yeah, sometimes I feel like we do end up kind of spending a bit of extra time on places that we actually don't need to spend time on. So I just feel like this kind of teaches you to just spend the right amount of time. So I am going in with my concealer here, which is on the under eye, how I usually apply it. I do sometimes apply it on the back of my hand. That's if I have time, if I really want to kind of spend that time on my, you know, like really getting that right, or not right, but you know, like just really spend a bit of extra time really getting that nice flawless finish, then that's generally what I do. I've got my Hollywood complexion brush. I'm just gonna buff this area here and just the side, like the corners of the eyes, just because it's easier that way. Keep it in the same place. Gonna get the sponge and we're just gonna buff the under eye area. And I'm just gonna like get that nice and covered at the bottom. Let's see how long we've got. Got 4 minutes, 55. And really kind of like get those dark circles covered. I'm happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is go in with my Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. This is in 4.00 NO Tan Ginger. I'm just going to get some of it on my palette that I've got here. So I just use my Makeup by Mario palette here. I don't want to get it all over my hands. So I'm just going to buff my sponge into this and just start buffing this foundation just all over my face. And again, I spend a bit of time on this area, usually a bit too much, more time than I actually need, to be honest, sometimes. So I feel like when I started, sometimes I do my makeup in this way where I'm timing it when I know that I don't have much time and I don't want to be left at the end of my look with like a certain area just completely not looking right, or I haven't been able to actually do that area at all. So I don't necessarily always time the whole look, but I do it in segments like this. And I feel like it helps me because it stops me from kind of like I said, missing out on certain areas. But I forgot the point of what I was going to say. There was something I was going to say and I can't remember what that was. There you go. That's done. Okay, now before I actually set, I do want to get a little bit of blush on, and I'm putting my ABH blush on. So I'm just going to get my other sponge here and I'm just going to buff this in. That's enough. I just want a nice, you can, by the way, go back over with your foundation brush, like sponge, if you just want to get that nicely blended in. Now I'm happy with that, so I do want to set this now. I'm going to get my brush, and I've got two brushes. I want a small one and a big one. I've got my setting brush, so I just want to make sure there are no creases on my under eyes. There you go. Get my powder, press underneath, and I'm kind of like making sure that I really get that under eye kind of like set nicely. And now everywhere else on the face, I'm going to use a bigger brush, which is my Refa 24 brush. And this is where I'm really just going to press the powder in all over, just so that we get that nice and matte. There you go. Now lastly, I just want to use my bronzer quickly. So I'm using my Fenty Beauty bronzer and my Refa 18 brush, and I just want to like bronze the kind of outside part of my face. I'm just dipping it into the bronzer and then dipping it, like pressing it onto a tissue so I don't get a crazy amount of kind of bronzer on my face. How are we doing? Yeah, we're doing well. I just like to get it right underneath my cheekbone so that I can get that nice warmth there. So that sun-kissed look, but also it's nice and chiseled and underneath the jawline. Now I do want to use another brush very quickly, my Fenty 200 brush. Again, dip into the powder and then onto a tissue. And I just want to like quickly just thin out my nose a little bit. Just do a little V here. And I'm kind of like happy with that. There you go. I think I can go with just a little bit more bronzer. See, and I like that blush is kind of like peeping through there as well. Yeah. So that's basically my bronzer done, and I have kind of like added the blush and everything. I'm still trying to remember what I was actually going to say in the middle of like what I was doing. I've actually got like 20 seconds left, so I'm done really well there. But yeah, like I said, I do sometimes do that just because I feel like then I know that that section is going to be right, you know, it's going to be like, it's going to be flawless as opposed to kind of like just missing certain things out. And timer is up, so let's stop that. So there you go. In 7 minutes, we have done a flawless base. We've created a really nice base. You can see that it's kind of like we've got the bronzer on, we've got the blush everywhere, we've got this really nice kind of like just flawless base, and everything is set perfectly too. So you don't always have to kind of spend so long on it, but also this gives you kind of like a good reason to be able to spend longer on other areas. So if you feel like, okay, I want to spend a bit of extra time on my eyes and lips today, or just my eyes, then you know what, and I don't have the time to be able to get, you know, spend a good hour, then you know that you can get your base done in 7 minutes. Okay, so we're ready for the brows, because we're going to be spending 6 minutes on the brows, and this is the area that I probably end up spending the longest, I think. So I got it down to like 6 minutes. I could very easily spend more time on my brows, but I just feel like it's an area that is really important for us to try and shorten, because if you are like me, there's some kind of area on your face that you end up spending way, like far too much time on, and you want to be able to cut it down. So I'm really hoping this is going to help you guys out. Let's get this timer ready. Okay, I have got it on 6 minutes. I've got a couple of products out. I'm using a couple of products, and the reason being is because what I've realized is if I want to do my brows quick and I still want them to look great, then I need to use a few products, right? So I'm keeping it real with you guys. I usually, if I spend the time on it, then I can use one product, which is usually my Urban Decay Brow Blade in Brunette Betty, because it has a pen on one side and a pencil on the other. But that's if I spend a bit of extra time on it, because it's a little bit lighter than my hair, so it takes a bit of time to be able to kind of really get that right. Whereas if I don't have the time, then I do use a couple of different products, and that is because it just speeds it up. I don't know how to explain it, but it actually speeds it up for me because I'm getting the depth a bit more easily, you know? So I don't want to have to use all these products when I'm spending time on my brows, but if I don't have time, then this is what I would do and this is what I would use. Okay, so I've got my Lime Crime Baby Brown Bushy Brow Pen. I've got my Urban Decay Brunette Betty Brow Blade, and I've got my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pen in chocolate. Right, so we are going to get started. I'm hoping I don't have to use that last one, but I've got it ready just in case. So if we get started, let me just grab my mirror so that I can make sure that I can also, you guys can see. So 6 minutes, I'm hoping to aim like for around 3 minutes per brow, which has worked for me before, but let's go. So let's start now. So I'm using my brow blade, not my brow blade, sorry, my Lime Crime pen. I feel like this just gives me easy kind of like brow strokes, whereas I feel like it takes me a bit longer when I use the Urban Decay Brow Blade. And I actually think that the reason for that is because the pen is just so ultra thin that it requires like a bit more kind of like application, if that makes sense. Like I feel like with this brow pen, I can just like, I get the pigment immediately. Okay. I said three minutes on each brow, but I forgot that I actually do it bit by bit, so I'm kind of happy with that. So I feel like I've got the brow kind of like the, what have we got left? I was just like midway in my sentence there. I've got the brow, oh my god, I should not be spending time on what I'm trying to say. The brow flick. I've replicated the hairs, you know. Now I'm gonna get my pencil. And I'm using the Urban Decay Brow Blade in Brunette Betty. And okay, so this is where I wanna shape the brow, because I've kind of applied the pen to get the kind of overall, roughly get the shape and keep it quite natural looking. Like really replicate those hairs. Now this is where I can just adjust the shape a little bit more. Give it some definition. Honestly, when I have done timed tutorials where, like let's just say I've done it in 10 minutes or I've done it in like 20 minutes, I always find that I just end up spending so much time on my brows that I end up kind of like thinking to myself, well, like that was just annoying that I've had to do that. Let me see how much time I've got. Yeah. So it's annoying that I've had to do that and it stresses me out more. But whereas when I have time to just my brows like this and we're just keeping it completely separate to everything else, it just allows me to just relax a little bit. I'm not so stressed out and I can actually get it done. So I just feel like this can work for you. You know, if you end up spending a little bit too much time on your brows, I just feel like this is a great way to just kind of like rein it in a bit. So you can see we're just getting that shape nice there. So we've got a little bit of a kind of arch there as well. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that. Let's see. Now I'm going to go in with my brow pen from Anastasia. This is a bit darker. This is in chocolate. And this is just to further go ahead and add those kind of like hair strokes. So it just looks kind of like less like I've just drawn a straight line everywhere. And it just adds a bit more kind of like realness to it. There you go. I'm super happy with that because I feel like I've got the shape that I wanted. It doesn't look messy. The issue that I've had previously when it comes to my brows, like when I've timed it before, I'm in a rush generally. Let me see how much time I've actually got back. I think I used the wrong lid on that. Oh, there you go. So how much time have I got left? Oh, 1 minute 34. So you could use that for other stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to kind of, that can be like, you can use it, add that on. You've got a little bit extra time for your eyes now, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to the numbers that I've said. So usually what happens is I will kind of end up like just not darkening them enough. Like I don't like my brows too dark, but at the same time when I am timing a look and I'm rushing, or I'm just generally not even filming and I'm just rushing a look, what happens is I end up spending longer time, so more than 6 minutes on my brows, and somehow they still don't come out right because you can probably really tell the difference between where the hair is and where the hair isn't. Whereas like bizarrely, by spending a dedicated amount of time to my brows, and I'm only trying to focus on it. Sometimes it's just your mind as well. Like bizarrely, I'm able to actually get it done and be happy with my brows and feel like it doesn't look too light or too dark. I feel like I can get it right. So it's just a really weird thing. Sometimes it is just, you know, the way that you kind of like approach things. Like, are you really rushing? If you're really rushing, you'll end up getting things wrong as well. So that's the annoying part. But it's like, how do you stop yourself from rushing as well? It's like, just take a deep breath, try and take your time and just relax. Think about what it is that you're trying to do and focus on that. So I think we're coming up to those 6 minutes now. Let me see. Yep, done. Okay, so that was 6 minutes on the brows. Now we're going to move on to the eyes. Now, when it comes to the eyes, I'm going to be spending 5 minutes on them. And I'm going to be doing a really nice look that I think is going to be just so easy for you guys to do. Now, a couple of products that I'm going to be using. I've got my lash curlers, which is my Kevin O'Quarr lash curlers. I've got my Kush mascara from Milk Makeup. And then I've also got this new product that I've started wearing, which I really like. Okay, so this product is by Wonder Skin, and this is the Longwear eyeliner pencil, and this is in brown sugar. Now what I do love about their products is you apply it and it's perfect for the days where you don't have time for touch-ups. So if you want it to stay put, this is the range for you. I personally really like their eye pencils and their lip pencils. I'm gonna use their lip pencil after to show you. But once you've applied it, if you apply it within a certain time frame, it stays put. That's it. It's not going to budge. It's not going to smudge. Do whatever you want. It's staying in place. So if you're looking for something like that, this is the brand for you. Link will be in my description, so don't forget. So this pencil, the reason why I like it is because it is very buttery. It's very easy to kind of like blend. You apply it, glides on with the most amazing full pigment, and then you can blend it very, very easily. The other thing that I'm gonna need is a brush, and I'm gonna be using my Charlotte Tilbury smudge brush because it's really easy to just blend anything. You're gonna want a tissue as well, because once you've blended the first kind of like eye, you wanna take off the excess onto a tissue from your brush, so make sure there's nothing else on it before you move on to the other eye. So this is a really easy look. By the way, I'm not going crazy with a full smoky eye. It's just an everyday kind of like easy, flawless look. So let's get ready. We did say that we're gonna give it 5 minutes. So let's get our kind of timer ready. And we are gonna get started now. Okay, so very quickly, I've got my brush in my hand too. I am gonna just apply this really close to the lash line and do a little mini flick there, tiny. And then I'm gonna get this and blend in and drag out. I want it very subtle, so nothing too, can you see how subtle that is? But it's giving me some shape. That's why I like this, because I feel like you can really build up the color, but you can also really kind of like keep it subtle. You don't have to have it so crazy kind of smoky. And that's what I really like about smoky looks in general, because I feel like you should be able to give it, you know, like have the option. So see where I've just applied some more to just deepen that a little bit. So you can keep adding more if you want to, or you could just kind of like add a lot more than what I've added right from the beginning. So I'm just gonna do a little bit more on this side. And once it's actually like set, so if you blend immediately, it sets. And then it's not going anywhere. So just make sure you really do get it equal on each side so that you've got the same amount there. I'm happy with that. So that is done. We're gonna put that down now. Next up, let's see how much time we've got. More than enough. We've got our lash curlers. We're gonna just curl the lashes like this. There you go. That's done. Gonna get the mascara. You can use whatever mascara you want. I like this because I just feel like it's a good daytime mascara. And this is where I just want to get those really nice kind of defined lashes, and I don't want it to be like an overly kind of thick, clumpy look. That's why I've gone for this one. I feel like this just generally enhances your lashes and that's it. It's not like crazy thick lashes. There you go. Just want to see how much time we've got. I do think like you always end up spending a little bit of extra time on the mascara. With good reason, because I just feel like it's something that you can't really rush, because it really does depend on the mascara as well. I just always find it's rare that you can use a mascara and you've just put it on and then like really quickly and that's it. Mascara generally is the one thing that you've got to go with the mascara. You can't really kind of like speed it up, if that makes sense. So even though currently it's like, okay, I've got loads of time, like I've got 1 minute 45 by now, I think, like your mascara will end up taking it up. So I just find that if you want to speed up your eyes, speed up the other areas like your eyeliner, eyeshadow, whatever it is that you're going to be applying, so that you can really spend that extra time on your lashes, because that's the one thing that is just so hard to speed up. Anywhere where I can see a clump, I always get my finger and just go over it. There you go. So now whatever time I've got left, I can just carry on with applying it to the upper lashes, so that I can really focus on getting that nice lash effect. How much time do we have left? we have done very well. See how like it is just so much calmer. And I'm not just talking about me, like obviously I stress out when there's a timer on, but even now, like look how like I'm not so stressed, right? But I'm just saying that if you just break things up on the face, it just makes it so much easier for you to actually like create that look, but get a really nice flawless finish at the end of it. And not feel like you're just, everything's rushed, because the minute you start rushing, everything just goes wrong. Or it just doesn't go, it doesn't look as great as what it would do if you weren't rushing, like if you really spent your time on it. So a lot of it is down to just how you approach it. There you go, timer has gone off. We're on the last part of the face, which is the lips, and then we are done. So I'm gonna get like just a couple of things I'm gonna be using and go through them with you. So first off, I always like to get a tissue ready just so that I have it if I need to kind of blot or anything. I'm gonna be starting with my Dual Lip Maximizer, and then I'm gonna be moving on with like blotting it and then applying my Wonder Skin lip pencil. This is a contour lip liner, and basically again glides on, amazing pigment, and you let it set and it will just stay all day. You don't have to worry about it going anywhere. And the color that I'm actually using is called Saddle, which is 360. So that's the color I'm using. We are only giving ourselves 2 minutes on this, guys. This is the Hourglass lipstick, and it is the Unlock lipstick in Tiger Lily 354. This is a really nice kind of just brick color, but I don't want it obviously to be kind of like too bright. I do want to just add a bit of color. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So 2 minutes, am I right here? Yeah, 2 minutes. So there you go. Let's get ready. Let's get ready and let's go. Okay, so 2 minutes. First thing we're gonna do, get some of this on, and then what I do is I blot it a couple of times, really get rid of the excess. We're gonna line the lips now. Remember, this lip pencil dries and then doesn't go anywhere. So you really want to make sure that you kind of blend it well. Okay, I'm happy with the lip pencil. I'm gonna go in with this lipstick, and I just wanna, I'm gonna use my finger for this. I don't really feel like I need a lip brush. I go close to the lip line, and then I use the finger to just buff in. It kind of binds everything together. And if I feel like I need more, I can always kind of like add more, but I actually think that I'm happy with this because it's just a nice kind of like slightly kind of like summery color, but it isn't over the top. And we've got 22 seconds left. So I personally think this is like just such an easy look to do. And it just goes to show that if you break everything down, you can really kind of like focus on getting it perfect, like getting it as close to perfect as you can, so that you guys are happy with the look that you've created. So we are nearly at the end of that. Let's let that go. We are done with the lips. So there you go. That is basically everything. If you put all of that together, you're gonna get it done in 20 minutes, right? My main aim was not that, you know, this is like put it all together, because I might as well have just done the timer for 20 minutes. My aim here was to really show you that you can break it down and you can get every aspect of your kind of face, your features, get it right within a time frame. So you can really cut down the faffing around and like the area that you feel like you end up spending far too much time on, pick that area out of this video and really practice within that time frame, or change the time frame a little bit to adjust it to what you are able to do and what fits in with your schedule or your life in general, and then practice to get it done within that time frame. If you can go away and practice that and get that done within that time frame and be so good at it within that time frame, it is going to speed up your getting ready process so much. So hopefully that's helped you. Hopefully this has shown you that you can create a really nice flawless look if you just break it down and think about what you're actually doing within that time frame. I think it's gonna be so much help to you. Don't forget that everything is listed in my description below, and you can just click on the links and it will take you straight to it. Also, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. And don't forget that I do have an online publication called the Beauty Breakfast Club. It's a really nice community over there that I'd love you guys to join. It's an online publication where I write articles on there and they are released 3 times a week. There are 2 different subscription offers. So you have one which is free that gives you access to most of the site. And then you have another one which is paid, but it actually is only the equivalent of a coffee a month. And that gives you access to the entire site, including a chat room with me where you can ask any questions. Everyone who's in that chat room are paid subscribers, and we've built such a nice community over there, and we help each other out with different situations like makeup problems, beauty. And by the way, all the topics covered on this online publication are beauty primarily, health, self, culture, just a bit of everything, just life in general. And yeah, I do also have a podcast which I'd love you guys to go and show your support on. It is myself and my hubby that host it, and it's a bit of an insight into life in general, our thoughts, our opinions on things, and we're just keeping it really real, to be honest with you. So it would be great if you could head over and show your support there. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.